Hi, I'm Paul Vunak, and this is going to be a videotape on trapping. The one thing I have to do before I discuss the fundamentals of trapping is talk to you about ranges a little bit. Regardless of what style you practice, it has to fit into one of these four ranges. It could be any of the hundreds of Kung Fu arts, karate arts, any art from the Philippines. It's got to fall into four ranges. So anybody fighting from a street fight, from a wrestling match on up, has to fight in either kicking range, boxing range, trapping range, or grappling range. Now, the important thing to know of these four ranges is that one range is a little bit more combative than the rest, and that is trapping range. Now, when I say combative, I'm talking about for a street fight. Now, when I say we're going to be doing Jeet Kune Do, we're going to be doing functional Jeet Kune Do. It's not going to be the kind of Jeet Kune Do that you're used to seeing in the movies. We have what we call theatrical Jeet Kune Do and functional Jeet Kune Do. Functional JKD is within trapping range. Theatrical JKD has to do with more high, spinning, flashy kicks. Now, first of all, I want to illustrate to you what constitutes what range. Okay, Mark? Kicking range is the extension of the leg. That's the first thing. So, as the leg is extended, this is kicking range. If I cannot reach with my hands, but the feet can kick me in any kick. Punching range is the extension of the jab. The jab is here. We're inside of most of the kicks, but we're also outside of the elbow range. Then you have trapping range, which is right here. Closest range you have before you get to the ground. On the ground, wrestling, headlock, roll around the ground, that's wrestling range. Now, of each range that you have an amount of tools on your body that coincide with these ranges. We're going to start with the top of the head and go down the body. And I'm going to show you how many tools you have and in what ranges they are. In kicking range, you have the foot. Anything inside the foot is another range. That would be boxing range. So therefore, when the foot is extended, this being kicking range, notice I can't punch. Not to say that an art doesn't kick or punch. There are arts that kick and punch. From kicking range, we have boxing range. Boxing range is inside of most kicks. Spin kick, crescent kick, roundhouse kick, you're inside. You're too jammed up to kick in this range, but this is boxing range right in here. Trapping range is inside of boxing range. Now, the boxing range, you have basically your hand. This is the only tool you have in boxing range. You can possibly use a few low-lying kicks, but you've got your hand. You can't use your elbow. Notice, because of the extension of the jab, I'm too close for the elbow. I'm a bit too close for the knee. I may be able to reach if I really extend. We've talked about kicking range, and we've talked about boxing range. I'm going to skip trapping for a second. We're going to talk about grappling range. Grappling range, we're both on the ground. I've got him in a headlock. He's got me in some lock. We're rolling around on the ground. What tools do you have in grappling range? Basically, you have your teeth. You have your chin. Wrestlers use their chin a lot. Okay, and you've got your grip for the pinch. These are the tools we have in grappling range. Now we're going to talk about trapping range. Trapping range, is the common denominator of Jeet Kune Do and of the Filipino martial arts. This range is very combative in that it is an art and not a sport. In trapping range, you've got your head. This is your headbutt. Working down, you have your teeth. Any bite. If I'm up here, he's got the bite. From the teeth, we have the chin. Okay, so if you go for a double leg takedown here, this is the chin, or the chin here. Okay, from the chin, we have the shoulder. Now, the shoulder is not a tool that's going to blow somebody away. I'm not going to run in and shoulder bump them, run out and go, well, did I beat him? Okay, the shoulder is just a means to an end. If I'm in here, it's just a little bump to get another punch. So it's just a little bump. It's not something that's going to blow the guy away, but it's a means to an end. Okay, from the shoulder, we have the elbow. The elbow is the main tool in Kali. This is the main tool. Thai boxing uses elbow a lot, Bando boxing. Okay? Elbow, we have the form. You can use the inner form or the outer form. Okay, the inner form can blow smoke. Okay, this is one of the tools, turn this way. Okay, this, as you pull here, this is a little bump here. It's called the antecubital fossa, or the inner form. Okay, as I pull the neck here, this is when you send it. As you send it, boom, it comes back with the elbow. So the inner form is a good tool. Working our way down, of course, you have the hand. Hand for any trap. Okay, the hip, once again, the hip is just, if we're in here struggling, just a little bump of the hip to put in a knee, to put in an elbow. Okay, from the hip, we have the butt. Maybe if you grab me from behind, you could slam the rear end into the groin, headbutt from behind. From the knee, Trapping, you've got the knee range, then you've got your shin. So each one of these tools are in trapping range. As you can see, trapping is in fighting. Okay? When we're out in long range, this is still the probing range. This is a range we're moving around. We're just probing each other. We're playing the game. Regardless of what we do out here, it's still a game. Even boxing, full contact, it's still a game. When you get inside of boxing, when you get in this range right here, this is now where the fight starts, where all these tools begin. Now the key to JKD, once again, is the interaction of all of the different arts. They have to blend. There has to be a continuity. You have to be a Thai boxer, then you have to be a Savate man. This has to flow back and forth. Then you have to be a Wing Chun man. Then from there you have to be a Kali man. This all has to blend. It's not just a question of grabbing a bunch of arts, sticking them all here and saying, I train of all these. It's not a question of training of all those. They have to blend together. So if you have an art where you replace on the hip, this won't work for what we do. Not to say it's not right, it's right or wrong, but it won't work for what we do. Because from here, if I have this sort of reference point, my hand has to go from the hip all the way up to here to get a trap. Whereas Thai boxing, if I'm here, this is their position, not on the hip, the trap is more effective because we have our economy of motion. One thing I want you to remember, as I'm describing different arts, I'm not putting down any particular art. All I'm doing is explaining to you that that art would not fit in the blend, in the synthesis of what JKD is. And the reason it wouldn't fit is, let's say, for example, if you chamber your hand on your hip, is we're losing one of the most important qualities of JKD, is economy of motion. So the arts that we chose, that Bruce Lee chose and Dan Inosanto chose, were arts that blend together harmoniously. And this is the most important aspect of JKD, is knowing what arts to pick. And out of all the arts that we pick, we don't use the whole art. We only use a portion of the art, maybe 5–10%. In some cases, we only use a training method or a mentality. Thai boxing, excellent mentality. They hardcore everything. You can take that same hardcore approach and apply it to Wing Chun. You'll have a better Wing Chun man. Then if you take the economy of motion of Wing Chun and apply it to Thai boxing, you'll have a better Thai boxer. Now, one of the main things that I like about trapping range is that no one else knows it. Kicking range, you've got a lot of karate people that kick. You've got a lot of boxers that will stay in boxing range. They'll move around, but they maintain one range. A street fighter, he's going to maintain boxing range, or he's going to get on the ground. So you've got wrestlers, you've got boxers, you've got street fighters, and you've got karate people. But who stays in trapping range and fights there? Think about that. In a tournament, what happens? Mark, let me borrow you. We square off here, we're both down in this low position. We fly up from here to get your point. And if we're stuck in this range, what happens? The ref comes in. Break! Separate. In a boxing match, they're jabbing, they're crossing, they're hooking. They get in clinch position, what happens? The ref comes in and separates them. In a street fight, what happens? You're stuck in this trapping range for 1 second. If someone just yelled, yo, headbutt, boom, the fight would be over. But nobody knows to do that. So instead, what happens? They get in a headlock on the ground, and they're rolling around on the ground. So every time they get into trapping range, or anybody does, they somehow get out of it, whether it be the ref separating them or them just quitting. So this is a range that no one else knows. And because of that, it gives us a tremendous advantage. All you have to do is know the techniques, know the blend of arts, and know the attribute that it takes in that range, which is sensitivity. And sensitivity is something that can be maintained until you're 90 years old. If you're an art that chooses all high kicking, well, you can burn out at a certain time. And if you don't burn out, it might take you 2 hours a day to maintain those kicks. But we're talking about elbows, knees, headbutts. What do you do to maintain a headbutt? Butt the bag for 2 hours a day? You don't have to do that, because the tools are very easy to maintain. So let's discuss why we like to trap. Number one, very few people do it. Number two, the tools are very easy to maintain. And number three, you have all 12 of your tools in trapping range. Whereas in these other ranges, you've only got a small variety of your tools. Okay, with these concepts in mind, what I would like you to do, just have an open mind, okay? And let's just get to business. Let's start training. Okay. Now that you understand that we want to get into trapping range in the fight, that is our goal, is to get into trapping range. The one thing you have to know is that you have to go through 2 ranges to get to the 3rd range, kicking and boxing. Now, how we get into these ranges, there are 2 main ways. One is a stop hit, or what we call a Jeet Tech, We pull this from Jeet Kune Do. This is Bruce Lee's major concept. This is actually what Jeet Kune Do stands for, a way of intercepting or stop hitting the hand and foot. And the other way that we use as an entry is pulled from the Filipino martial arts. We call these destructions. Destructions are whenever anybody punches or kicks you, you destroy the limb or the foot on the first beat. These are destructions. Once we do a destruction, this gets us into trapping range. Then when we're in trapping range, we can do our thing. Now, the one thing I want to address here is exactly how you trap when you're in trapping range. And the how you trap is basically any way you want. The concept is wherever your body feels best, that's probably the best way to do it. Don't worry if your right leg is in front of your left. Don't worry if your hand starts from here or starts from here. Don't worry if the thumb is in or if the thumb is open. We don't want to get you into too many intricate details. I want you to think of any sport. Picture Magic Johnson dribbling the ball down the court going left lead, right lead, right lead, left. He could never figure it out. So there is no lead. There is no stance. And that's the way all sports are. If you take a running back that runs with the ball, he has no stance. He's running, he's flowing, he's going with the motion, he's responsive. So in trapping range, we have different arts that we pull from. There's Wing Chun, there's locking, there's Thai boxing, there's Kinamu Thai, there's Dumog. Each one of these arts has their own concepts. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to blend all of these concepts with you. But I want you to keep in mind that there is no way. We kick and we box. That's a very important thing. Once you get past those ranges using destructions, depending on what art you pull from is going to dictate what technique you do. And I don't want you to get hung up on where your hands are or where your feet are. For example, if I happen to be in this position, this is a trap I do. I don't even know what lead I was in. If I happen to be here, this is a trap I do. If he punches me and gives me this energy, then I lock, because that's the energy I got. But notice while I'm doing all this, and this, and this, and this, I don't have time to worry where my body is. It just happens to be there. All right, with these concepts in mind, what I want you to do is I'm going to blend 5 or 6 different techniques together. I'm not going to exactly tell you where they're all from. It would take us too much time. One might be from locking, one might be from a Filipino art, Panatukan, one might be from Jiu-Jitsu, one might be from Wing Chun. I'm going to blend all these together, and there's going to be that continuity there. And I'm going to do something a little bit against JKD's concepts, and that is I'm going to teach techniques, because we have to start somewhere, and we have to abide by the limitations of a video. Okay, if I were in front of you, we could do it differently. You'd be feeling the energy. All right, Mark, let me borrow you. Okay, we're going to equate this off the front jab. Like I told you before, this is the fastest strike. So this is the one we're going to work with. If you can do this, you can do anything. We're going to start with our horizontal gunting. This is the destruction on the arm, the jab to the eyes, and the back fist. This is the first 3 movements we're going to do in this technique. Now watch again. I'm going to zone out and hit that arm. Jab the eye, back fist the temple. Okay, again. We're going to put these 3 together. This is the first thing we want. Now, when I come in with this entry right to here, I don't know what energy he's going to give me. Some people will raise their front hand. Now, if he raises his front hand, I can go into locking. That's the first art that we can pull from in JKD. Other people will just shoulder roll. If he shoulder rolls here, then I can go into Kali, which is the knee, and into a foot sweep. Other people will block with their rear hand. If he blocks with this hand, then I go into Wing Chun. This is what we call a Pak Sao. Other people will block with their rear hand and cross center line. This is what we call a Lap Sao. Now you say, well, how am I going to remember all these techniques? This is where sensitivity comes in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down slow for you. But eventually you're not going to have to remember it, because it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just a question of feeling. Okay, let's take these 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now what I want you to do is follow along with me. If you don't have a partner, just work in front of the mirror. Okay, he's going to jab. 1. Get this motion first. You have to have the basic footwork. He jabs, you have to have that basic catch. This is the first basic thing from boxing. As you catch the arm, you hit it. You're going to hit it with this knuckle. As you hit it, you jab the eye. This has to be one motion. 1, 2, 3. So slowly, you go 1, 2, 3. Now at this point, this has been your entry. You don't exactly know what's going to happen here. Anything he does, you have to do something. Do anything. Okay, so I had to flow from here. He went with an overhand. I went around and to come to here. This is Kali. Okay, so from when I get to this position here, we can go Wing Chun. Now this is what I want you to do now. We're going to do this one. He jabs. 1, 2, 3. He's going to block here, which is a very common energy you get. Trap it. Notice how I have the forward pressure. I'm cupping the hand. I don't have my thumb around grabbing. Okay, let's go slow again. This is our entry. 1, 2, 3. Trap the first hand. Okay, once again, he jabs. I hit it, come in with an eye jab, backhand, and trap. Okay, normal speed. This is my entry. Okay, this is my entry. Now I'm inside. I can start the fight. All right, let's pick up where we left off. We're going to build on this. We have the jab, 1. We have the eye jab, and we have the backhand. Now, the energy that we gave him was holding center line, and we had to go to Wing Chun. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to change his energy. Because remember, everyone acts a little bit differently when they get their arm hit and their eyes jabbed. Just depends how they react. This reaction, he's going to give me front hand energy. So he jabs, I go to here, but I get this energy. Now, right from here, all I'm going to do is fire this cross right at the face. We always train on the shoulder. Now again, he jabs. 1, 2, 3, 4. I come with a rear hand. Once again, gives me this energy. Okay? Now, follow my body mechanics. All I'm doing, think about if I just did a straight rear cross. Stay there. If I'm just going to punch with a rear cross, these are the mechanics I would use. Arms bent, hands up. That's the same mechanics I use for this. He jabs. I get this energy. Boom. Right here. This is the cross. It would go here. We train here. Now, the shot we're really wanting to build on is this knee right here to the thigh. This is the shot they don't see. Once again, I went from boxing back to Kali. So we've gone in and out of arts. So as soon as he jabs, I get this to here, boom, and I come with this. The minute I come with this, this is the knee. Now I go to Wing Chun, and I get an inside foot sweep. Okay, once again, when Mark jabs, I get these 3 to here. As soon as I come with the cross, this is a shot. We train on the shoulder. We hit the thigh. We come back with a foot sweep. Okay, let's do it again real slow. The punch comes in. I angle out 1, 2, 3. Come with the rear hand. 4, 5, 6. All right, now the concept I want you to keep in mind is we're in trapping range. When you're in that range, you're firing at him 1,000 strikes a second. You just want to go as fast as you can, like a bunch of BBs. Think of it like that. Not one cannonball that if you miss, you're lost. So when he punches, if I miss with this hand here, I can still go to this shot. So the concept is, regardless what I'm doing, 1 or 2 may miss. I'm just flowing. This is a Jeet Kune Do from Wing Chun. If I get some kind of energy, I lopstyle. I get this energy. I can lopstyle again. I can knee. I can elbow. The concept is you flow, regardless where you're at. It's all predicated on his energy. And his energy is all predicated on the timing to get in to touch him. So we're moving around in this range. He jabs, and this is when I enter. Now his energy was center line. I went Wing Chun. From this position here, I can foot sweep because of where I'm at. That's jiu-jitsu. Once again, flowing from art to art. All right, now the destruction that we took was off the jab. He jabbed, and I took a horizontal destruction. Like I said, I'm going to pick these out of the air. There's no real blend to this. I just want you to get the idea of what we're doing. Now we're going to take a kick. Give me a side kick, Mark. Okay, so he gives me a kick. That's my destruction. Now, I don't destroy the leg, back off and go, well, did I beat him? Okay, the concept is to go in again. Remember, a destruction is an entry. It's nothing else but an entry. So when he kicks me, the minute I get this boom, that's when I come in. That's when I go to here and just move in. That's when I feel. I don't know what art I'm going to go into. When I get this shot right here, depending on how he reacts to it, chances are going to fire straight ahead. In emptiness, you punch in a straight line. He gives me an obstruction here, I might go to locking. I might go to Wing Chun. I might go to just an arm wrench and break the arm. I might go from high back down low, back down high again. Okay, so it doesn't matter where I'm going. Concept is I have to feel his energy. Right, now what we're going to do is we're going to do a destruction off the jab. Instead of a horizontal gunting, we're going to do a vertical gunting with the elbow. Remember, this is destroying the punch on contact. Okay, so as soon as he jabs, we just take it right away. Okay, again, this is a shot. Now, as I hit this fist, my continuation of energy goes straight into the face. So I'm getting 2 shots for 1. As soon as he punches, I'm just taking this right into the face. If I get the eyes, great. If I don't get it, he's got 1 hand left to block. Now, when he blocks with that hand to here, that's when this is going to come into this side. So watch my energy. As soon as he punches, this comes to here. This comes on this vacant line. Then I get to here. Now I'm going to pull the neck, and I'm going to hit it with that elbow. Now, the minute I hit it with the elbow, boom, I'm going to come back to it. Elbow and a headbutt, a knee, and then a takedown. This is my combination. Okay, watch it again slowly. He jabs. Destroy the fist with the elbow. Continue to the eyes. come in with what we call a wedge. This is from Kali. All of the footwork is Filipino footwork, the angulation. I get what I call it double pock here. I'm going to pull the neck, take it with that, and come back to the elbow. Headbutt, come down to here, and drive it down to finish it off. Now what I'd like to do, we showed a little kickboxing, and we showed a little bit of trapping, and we showed the entry of how to get into it. What I'd like to do is just move around a little bit. I'm going to start from kickboxing range. We're just going to basically spar. What I'm going to do is when I find the time to go in, this isn't rehearsal, I'm just going to go when I go. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but when I get inside, then I'm going to go into the kick into the Wing Chun, the straight blast, and whatever I can do from that point. Okay, so the concept is I'm entering from long range into trapping. So that's what I'm wanting you to get a feel of, is the timing of when to enter. Okay, put on a helmet. Okay, move around. Okay, keep your left hand lower. Back out. The next instruction we're going to do is if you're really pulled back. For example, if Mark feints across, and I happen to be here, and then the jab comes, this is when we come in. Now, this particular destruction, we're not hitting the arm, but we're going straight into the eye. So if I happen to be in this position, and if the jab comes in, this is my shot. So just the jab is going to come in. I parry it and shoot the eye jab. Notice my angulation. As I'm here, I zone away from the rear hand. This is something you want to do with all the destructions. I usually work the upper body first, then the lower body. Once you have this down, then you have this one down, then you have this one down, then we put in the angulation. Zoning to this, or zoning to there, or zoning to here. So once again, very slow, he jabs, I catch with this shot. Now notice if I stay in front of him, I can't get this hand in, because we've got like front hand cohesion here. So as soon as he jabs, I've got to get across that line to put the eye jab in. This is not two motions. Doesn't go 1, 2. You're going to lose it. From the moving positions has to be one motion. Okay, to go through the 3 destructions we have, if I start at this position here, he jabs, it's a horizontal gunting. The second one I happen to be a little bit lower, a vertical gunting coming up. The third one I'm rolled to this position, and this is the eye jab. So depending on where your hand is. Now what we're going to do is Mark's just going to move around, and I'm just going to put them in arbitrarily. So I'm moving around. See, so where my hand happens to be is where I destroy it at. I happen to be up, I'm here. Happen to be in, I'm here. Didn't go through that one yet. Okay, now, what we're going to do, as Mark jabs, there's another range to do a destruction. This particular range, as Mark jabs, this is what we call sumbrata range with the destruction. Sumbrata means that I can catch with my rear hand. Every destruction I was doing, I was catching and then hitting. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to be about in this range and using the elbow. You don't have to catch it. You can just put the elbow up if you want. It's right here. If you want to catch it to guide it in, you can guide it in. So our 4th destruction from this range is hitting the fist. We're destroying the fist on contact. The minute Mark jabs, this is the destruction of the fist. This is my entry to come in for whatever I want from here. So we have 4 destructions. Horizontal, vertical, eye jab, and catch to the elbow. Now the 5th destruction we're going to do is going to be the other elbow. So if I caught it with my left, destroyed it with my front, now we're going to reverse it. Catch it with your front, destroy it with your left. You don't know when you're going to do which. These are all 5. I'm just playing with them. Notice where my hand happens to be before I do them. Okay, so slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to work the cross, which is the rear hand strike. So the jab comes in, this is his front hand, I catch with my rear. Now when the cross comes in, I catch with the same hand, except the back fist is going to come in to do the destruction. So my hand is from this position, 1. This is my shot. If I'm turned a little bit more when that comes in, I can't bring my hand around to hit it here. I'm losing the economy. So if I'm turned to this position, I just hit it here. So once again, if I'm here, I get this one. If I'm here, I get this one. Notice the turning of my body. It's hard to tell what lead I'm in at this point. Once again, I have both elbows off the cross because it's a straight punch like the jab. So when he shoots this in, I have the front elbow and I have the rear elbow. So you notice the similarity between the jab and the cross. In our particular art, we do not equate against the technique. We equate against the line of attack. So it wouldn't matter if Mark were to be coming in with a back fist and I destroy it, or if he comes in with an eye jab and I destroy it, or he comes in with a looping crane's beak and I destroy it, or if he comes in with a jab. They're all coming the same angle, so I treat them all the same way. So the cross is coming the same angle as the jab, so I treat that the same way. Once again, 1, now you jab. 1, 2, jab. 2, 3, jab. 3. So we treat them all the same way because they're coming in the same angle of attack. The next strike we're going to do as an entry is going to be against a hook. Now I'm not going to show the uppercut as an entry because you're already in. If a guy's going to uppercut you from long range, that's not a technique to do anyway. So from the fighting stance, he's going to throw the rear hook. When the rear hook comes in, we just go in the eyes right away. This would look very similar to Wing Chun's Tan Sao. Doesn't particularly matter where this hand or what angle this hand is, as long as you have it up. So when the hand is up, boom, straight in the eye. Now if you see it really winding up from that position, boom, you can just jab right away. This is what we call the stop hit. Keep in mind, these are not techniques. These are just entries. This is very important. I'm not going to go 1 and back off and hope I beat him. Okay? This is the entry. This is just for me, boom, to get into this range. When I get into this range, this is where everything flies. So as I get into the entry range, that's when I can put in my elbows, my knees, my headbutt, my trapping, all the techniques that are going to take a guy out quickly. Okay, so once again, hands are up, boom. If the front hand comes, boom. So if your hands are here, you don't have to move much. I could be looking the other direction, and as long as I'm still safe, as long as my hands are up. Once again, jab the eye right away, both hands. Okay? If the hand really winds up from that position, boom, just go straight in. You don't have to wait for that hand to come and then block it. So this is our entry, a hit on first contact. Now we're going to do destructions against kicks. Once again, keep in mind this is an entry. This is not the technique. And once again, always keep in mind that we're attacking the angle. Okay? We're not attacking the weapon. Okay, we're going to start with a side kick, which is the same as a front kick. Could be the same as a spinning side, because they all come in the same angle of attack. Okay, as the side kick comes in, you have 3 basic levels: low, middle, or high. Okay, we'll start off with low. As Mark comes in low, I'm just going to pick up my knee, because when I put my knee down, that's when my punch is there. Okay, so as soon as he comes in, just pick up the knee. That usually gives you a good entry. Okay, very simple technique. Just pick up the knee right here. We borrowed this from Thai boxing. If it comes middle, the hands are up, the front elbow comes in. As long as the hands are up, remember, this is the most important thing. This is your shot. Attacking that muscle, descending with your elbow straight down. If the kick's a little bit higher as he comes in, you come in with a knee. Very important on this kick is that you step back with your rear leg. So as he comes in, this is where the knee comes in. Slow again. When the knee is up, I could extend it. Okay? So the 2 techniques slowly is elbow and knee. Okay? This is against the side kick. If it comes low, we just pick the knee up. If it comes middle low, elbow descends. If it comes middle high, take a step back, 1, 2. If it comes real high, I'm going to lean back when the kick comes in. As I lean back, I might as well put in my shot. So that's my destruction. That's my entry. So he comes in high, 1, 2. That's my entry. He comes in middle, elbow. He comes in low, knee. Now what we're going to do are destructions against the roundhouse kick. The roundhouse kick comes in the same angle as the hook comes in. Whereas before we were doing destructions against the side kick, that comes in the same angle as the jab or the cross. The roundhouse kick can come 2 levels, low or high. If it goes low, it usually attacks the thigh or attacks the shin. Okay, so from a right lead, he's going to hit me in the thigh. This is the one shot I'm looking for. Okay, this is the one destruction or the shin. Okay, now, what I will do in defense is as soon as he comes in, on the first motion, just raise my knee. As soon as he kicks, I put the knee up. Thai boxing likes to raise their knee vertically and meet shin to shin. For them, that's very effective. They kick banana trees 6-7 hours a day. They're kicking the heavy bag, sandbags. They've got very conditioned shins. I would rather just pinpoint it with a knee. It's up to you. It's his own personal preference. As soon as it comes in, boom, just right on the knee. It takes a little more accuracy, but once you get it down, you don't have to spend all the time conditioning. If the shot comes low on the shin, I just point the knee this way. As soon as it comes on the shin, boom, the knee goes down. So as you see, as I'm moving around, he kicks or he kicks. Boom, and that's all you do is pick up the knee. So from this position, the knee either goes this way or this way. That's all the motion I'm using. I don't want to go down and block it. If I do that, here, that's leaving the high line open. He could fake low and go high, or he could kick low and punch high. This is leaving the face open. So what we like to do is just move around from here. He kicks, boom, just pick up the knee. It's much easier. Now we're going to do roundhouse kicks on the high line. The high line is not as effective because a person's got their hands up, they can use them. The low line is a much more effective kick. Now we're going to show the roundhouse kicks coming to the face, and I'm going to show you the destructions that we use. I'm going to face the camera. As the kick comes in, if we have our hands in this position, you catch with this hand. As you catch or parry with this hand, this elbow comes up. It rakes upward across the inner part of the shin. There's a bone that comes down the shin. The shin is much more powerful here. The inner part of the shin, there's a bundle of nerves that run between the shin and the muscle, between the shin bone and the muscle bone. This is where we want to attack, the inner shin. So as Mark comes in with his roundhouse kick, this is where it's hitting my arm. As it comes to this position, I raise it up on that shin. Okay, as the shot affects the shin bone, the real pain hits him when he plants forward. Okay, normally what I'll do is I'm going to kick. When Mark does it, this is when the effect hits right on this spot, right when a guy plants forward. Notice where my face is. Okay, so this is the shot where after is the inner shin. Now I'm going to face the camera. When the kick comes in, the hands are here. Once again, the elbow raking up. As the elbow rakes up, you can combine that with the knee. So you can do 2 destructions before the kick ever retracts. Okay, so Mark, give me the kick. This is the elbow destruction. But notice the elbow destruction can go on to the knee destruction. Then I got my hand entry from this point. Once again, we have 2 destructions on the high line. The elbow destruction rear elbow and the elbow destruction front elbow. Then we have the knee destruction front knee, or we have the knee destruction rear knee. Or we have a combination of them too, rear to rear or front to front. So these are the basic destructions we have against the high roundhouse kick. There are many more. There are many more kicks you can do. We have to keep it condensed for this particular tape. Now, Mark is going to come with a middle line roundhouse kick. The middle line roundhouse kick, you don't have to move your elbows because they're already there. You don't have to raise them up or descend them down. So as Mark comes in, boom, that's all I'm doing. So from this point, if I just tip the elbow out a little bit, I'm going to get a destruction on either side. Middle, low, or high. All of these kicks, high, middle, or low. The basic way to think of it is when the knee comes up, it covers to the waist. So your knee takes care of the low line. Your elbow picks up where the knee leaves off. So from the waist up, your elbow destroys it. So anything this guy shoots at you, the minute he fires, boom, he gets it destroyed. The minute he punches, boom, he gets it destroyed. This is the concept. Destruction on the first shot. All right, we have the high roundhouse kick, which comes like the hook line. We have the low, and we have the middle roundhouse. We have the low side, the middle side, and the high side. So we've got the straight lines and the hook lines covered. Now, there's different kicks that come at the same angle. But like I said before, we don't equate to the technique. We equate to the angle of attack. So if a crescent kick comes in, that's the same angle as a roundhouse kick. So therefore, it's the same kick. I don't have to go through all the different kicks. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cover the spin kick. Okay, now Mark, give me a spin kick. Okay, now once again, slowly. Now, if you can see the spin kick coming in, okay, go. Now, once again. Now is when I'm seeing it. Why wait to block the kick now? You're skipping a whole sequence of beats in there. So the minute I see Mark move, boom, this is my stop hit. Notice we aim for the rear end for training, but in reality we want to get it on the lumbar region, which is a lot more lethal than the butt, of course. Now, talking about trapping range, you have a different attribute in different ranges. In kicking range, one of the most important attributes is limberness. Okay? Endurance is a very important attribute. You want that for boxing range. Strength is a very important attribute. You want that for wrestling range. Well, the feeling and sensitivity is the most important attribute, and we use that for trapping range. We like that because you can do that until you're 90. Attribute of sensitivity is one that you can hold on to. It's like riding a bicycle. You can do it till you're 90. Now, Chi Sao is one way that we get the feeling and get sensitivity. The problem with Chi Sao is showing it in a videotape is impossible. It's a complete feeling. So the Filipinos have a way to get a similar energy, but they call it hubad. Hubad means to tie and to untie, or to get from long range inside and back out. When you're tied up, you can use your sensitivity to get out. This is the hubad. One person starts with their right hand and one starts with their left hand. Doesn't have to be this way, but this is a very easy way to start you off. You take your rear hand and you raise it up, you slap, and you hit down. Now let's start that again. Take it from the first position, right here. I am inside. I raise up my right hand, turn it, slap, pulled out, I'm exaggerating this, and hit down. Now he will do the same thing. He raises, slaps, and hits. So if you say to yourself, raise, slap, hit, you'll get this concept. Raise, slap, hit. And then eventually, from this position, this is a drill that we're going to work our way up in speed until you can do anything out of this drill. Okay, so let's try it one more time. You raise, you slap, and you hit. Raise, slap, hit. All right, I want you to remember the first instruction we taught you off of a jab, and this is a horizontal gunting. Okay, the hand goes across the bicep. Okay, so this is a pat, and this is a horizontal gunting. Now we're going to go back to hubad, and we're going to feel when to do that. And that feel is the sensitivity that we're learning. So we're going to go back to the raising, slapping, and hitting. Now what I do is I give a little energy here. So this is a pull, and I'm going to punch. When he feels that, he does the gunting, and we go back to hubad. Okay, follow along with me. Raise, slap, and hit. Each time I'm going to pull out. Here's where he's going to get the gunting. On the bicep, I jab, and a hit. This is a technique we did from long range. He punches, hit that bicep. We're going to do it here in hubad. This is feeling when to do it. This is the concept. You're feeling the sensitivity of when to do that particular technique. All right, now the other destruction that we taught was a fist with the elbow. So as Mark punches, this is where the elbow destroys the fist. Keep that in mind. You catch with the rear, guide it onto the elbow. This is your hit. As you hit here, you're going to continue this in the face. We can do this one out of hubad also. We're training with the hubad. Now I feed a different energy. He's going to feel when to do this because I pull back a little bit further. Then when I punch, that's when he hits, and we go into this. Whereas on this one, the horizontal, my energy is a little bit different. I'm across it. These, once again, you have to feel to appreciate. You have to be on this end to actually see them. So how he is learning sensitivity is he's feeling when I give this energy or when I give this energy. When I'm giving this energy, this is a horizontal gunting. When I'm giving this energy, this is a vertical gunting. Now, the concept being, you have to be actually here with us, feeling the energy. Now, what I'd like you to remember is you can do any technique you've ever been taught out of this hubad. Okay, this is the important thing. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to freelance a little bit, and I just want you to watch. These aren't techniques that you're going to remember, but just things that you can just see. So any kick you can do out of hubad. This is a pocket lock, which is from Wing Chun. Any arm lock, any lock at all, in fact, you can do on either hand, either side. As I'm talking, I really don't know what I'm going to do. It's all predicated on his energy. His energy is what makes me do what I'm going to do. Break. Okay, so the important concept there is that we're just in talking, having a blast. When I was discussing the kicking, I was saying that the kicking is in trapping, but we have a particular type of kick. It's called Pananjakman. Pananjakman, it's a little bit different. It's not what I would call pretty, but it's very effective. It's from the low line, from the waist down. The first kick that we do, give me a left lead, Mark, is what we call an oblique kick, just right here. Now I'm going to train on the shin. Notice my shot on the shin. In reality, it would be up in the kneecap. Now, the thing that differentiates Pananjakman from other arts are that it is supposed to be done in conjunction with hands. So when Mark punches, while the punches are going, the kicks are going at the same time. This is a concept that makes Pananjakman a little bit different. It is a kicking art that's made to be blent with trapping, whereas you can't exactly do that with a lot of different arts. Now let me go through a variety of a few different kicks. We're going to leave out all of the stuff that you can do on the high line, but keep in mind that that's all happening too. We're just going to teach you half of it, the kicking. Okay, the first kick, oblique kick. This is the rear leg kick. Just snaps out. Okay, let's do it a few times. 1. Bring your knee up first, just like you were going to do a front kick, only you turn it at the last second. All right, the next kick we're going to work on is a rear leg hook kick. We call it a hook kick. Actually, it's called a roundhouse kick. It's going to be attacking the kidney here. Okay, Savat prefers this target. Savat, when they have the toes up, they kick with the toes because they're a shoe art. So if you don't have bare feet, you can kick with your shoe. So what I'm doing is, here's the oblique kick. From this shot, when I turn, he doesn't really know if the first shot I taught you was going to come in or if it was going to be this shot. This is attacking the kidney. All Savat does, even if the hands are back that far, which it looks like this line is closed, notice that the foot sneaks in at that angle. So the foot comes up and then pops out. From that particular shot here, that's when I can go into trapping, because that is a nice entry, which is the rear leg hook kick. Okay, let's see it one more time, real slow. You have to turn the hip first. As you turn the hip, pick up the foot, kick, and then plant forward. That's your entry. All right, the next kick we're going to do, we borrowed from Thai boxing. This is a rear leg hook kick to the thigh. We use the shin. Okay, Savat likes to descend the kick. Notice how it comes down and up. This is Savat's way, because that way the kick can come back up again. Whereas Thai boxing prefers to come straight in with the shin. So right from here, they just drill it right into the thigh. This is a shot that's pretty ugly, but you have to feel it to appreciate it. In closing, I would just like to remind you of a few things. Remember, we have 4 ranges. Remember, from the kicking range, we move into the boxing range, we move into trapping range, and then you have grappling range on the ground. And of those 4 ranges, the range that we feel is very combative, Bruce Lee and Dan Inosanto both had this common denominator in all the arts that they studied, was trapping range. This range we feel has an edge on other ranges in that we use the elbows, the knees, the headbutts. You have more tools at your disposal. Whereas when you're out in kicking range, you've got your feet. When you're out there in punching range, you've got your hands. When you're rolling around on the ground, you've got your pinch, your bite, your wrestling techniques. Whereas in trapping range, you've got a variety of different techniques. And you got to also keep in mind, even though sensitivity is the most important thing, you have to practice. You have to put in the time. I'd like you to put in an hour or 2 a day if possible. If you can do that 3 or 4 times a week, then we're cooking. We're the ideal situation there. If you combine that with training on a Wing Chun dummy, Wing Chun dummy is to the trapper what a heavy bag is to the boxer. So you want to work your Wing Chun dummy. You can work all of your trapping on the dummy, and ideally if you have a partner to go along with the dummy, you've got it made. So I want you to take all these concepts and do your best, and best of luck to you. Thank you very much.